DragonCon is an amazingly unique convention that I have, personally, 10 years of experience at. Not to flex.
Use my knowledge, I beg you.
Whether you've never been to DragonCon before, or you've been to other conventions, but you've never attended DragonCon, or maybe you've been to DragonCon before. You've been a couple times, but you still haven't gotten the hang of it. This is the video for you to get some inside tips from a con veteran. If you've never been to DragonCon, you have no idea what it is, let me at least give you a quick rundown before we jump in. What started out as a small convention in 1987, centered around sci-fi and gaming, it's morphed into something else, a celebration of all things nerdy. The con takes place in downtown Atlanta, across 5 different hotels, and an exhibition center. Boasting nearly 80,000 attendees in the past few years, you'll undoubtedly find something that you're gonna enjoy. There's cosplay contests / photo shoots, live bands and orchestras, DragonCon wrestling, panels with guests from movies, TV shows, you name it, video games, board games, card games, arcade games, even a vendor hall with just about any nerdy object you can think of, from a game or a show or signed paraphernalia. They have it all. Enough chit-chatting, here are some tips and some guidance on how to navigate this big event. The first thing I want to touch on is a map of DragonCon. These tips aren't going to do you much good if you don't know where you're going. Like I said, you have 5 hotels. That's going to be the Hyatt, the Marriott, and the Hilton. Those are connected by a sky bridge. You also have the Westin and the Cortland Grand, formerly known as the Sheraton. Cortland Grand is where you're going to get your badge on the very first day of con. Lastly, there's a big exhibition hall. That's going to be the America's Mart buildings. Usually they use about 2 of them. Sometimes you use 1, sometimes you use 2. Past few years have been 2. That's where like the vendor hall is going to be. That's where the arcade machines are going to be. It's a huge space. The bulk of DragonCon is going to happen at those 3 main hotels connected by sky bridges. That's the Hyatt, Marriott, and Hilton. Yeah, stuff happens other places, but those are the larger hotels. That's where the bigger parties happen. And the Cortland Grand, where you pick up your badge, that's where a lot of the food trucks are going to end up parking. There are also 2 food courts that are connected to the 3 main hotels. There is the Peachtree Mall food court. That's going to be the bigger one. And then there's the Secrets food court. It's just a smaller food court that not as many people go to, not as many restaurants, and it's a little bit harder to find, so it has been dubbed the Secret Food Court. Now that we have a general layout of what the con looks like, let's jump into the actual tips and tricks to get you through this con. My first tip is also a testament on how DragonCon is different from most other conventions out there. It is pace yourself, because DragonCon does not stop. It is a 24-hour event. Once the con starts on Thursday, well, Wednesday if you're one of the cool kids who get there early, there's much partying going on the day before DragonCon. Once it starts on Thursday, it does not stop. Any hour of the day or night, there's something going on, and there's lots of people you can join in with. There is no closing or waiting for things to open at DragonCon. It is a constant event. It just does not stop going. Now, the kinds of activities that are available will differ depending on the time of day. During the day, you're going to find things like going to panels or vendor hall or taking a picture with a favorite actor. At night, you're going to find things like the bunny hutch or parties or a late night drum circle. So how are you going to navigate all these events seemingly happening at the exact same time? Which brings me to my next tip, which should be painfully obvious, but get the DragonCon app. As I'm recording this video right now, the DragonCon app for 2025 is not quite up yet. It is dangerously close though. It should be out, I'm guessing, the next 2 weeks. If I have history to look back on, which I do, it'll be in about 2 weeks. The DragonCon app is essentially your lifeline for navigating this convention. It has everything on there. It has schedule changes, it has maps, directions for panel, and most importantly, your own personal schedule. You can filter by day or different tracks, even a specific actor that you like. Once you find something that looks cool, just star it, favorite it, and it's going to populate on your own personal schedule. After picking some things that interest you, it's easy to find which events overlap, what things are happening at the same time, and if you have enough time to sneak in a little food break there. And just remember, you're probably not going to be able to do everything that you want because things are happening all the time. It's good to have a backup plan sometimes. Sometimes you decide, hey, I don't want to walk 5 blocks that way to go to that one thing. I'm going to stay here. It's good to have a backup. Moving on, let's talk more practical tips. DragonCon loves their alcohol, and there are plenty of places to purchase elixirs and themed spirits at the con, but I'll be honest, they are pretty expensive sometimes. And if you're trying to stay on a budget, or you just don't want to spend 20 minutes waiting in line at a party to pay $15 plus tip for a light beer, I recommend bringing some of your own. Now, DragonCon's pretty chill about bringing your own outside drinks. I've never gotten in trouble for it. I'd say you're probably going to be good as long as you're not making a fool of yourself. Don't strap a keg to your back and walk around the middle of a dance floor. Probably not going to go well for you. But yeah, bring a flask, bring some cans of stuff. It doesn't matter. This may or may not have happened one year, but I was at a party with a couple friends, and a friend pulled out a handle of vodka from his backpack. So you could do that. I'm not saying you should. You could. On a similar note, you should bring your own snacks too. While there are plenty of places to eat at Dragon Con, like the drinks, it can get pretty expensive, and there are long lines at the Peachtree Mall food court. Good food, but long lines that you could be spending waiting in line for a panel. That being said, I do have some recommendations for restaurants in the Peachtree Mall. First one has to be Aviva. Aviva is one of the highest rated restaurants in Atlanta, and for good reason. They have delicious Mediterranean food. The staff is extremely friendly. The owner, once you see him, you'll know why this is one of the greatest restaurants in Atlanta. The owner's so popular with Dragon Con that there are people who will cosplay as the owner and show up to support him, and it's just a really cool experience. The other restaurant is Benny's Cubano. I love a good Cuban, and the line usually isn't as long as it is at Aviva. Aviva is just more of a destination at this point. Benny's Cubano, good Cuban sandwich. Bonus points for the Gyro Chef food truck. This isn't in the Peachtree Mall food court. It's going to be outside the Sheraton usually. It just has great Greek fries. Loaded Greek fries, has the sauce on there. Oh, it's so good. After you get a few drinks in you and you're coming home from a late night party, it's the move. That's the place to go. My last bit of food advice, this is where my sage wisdom comes in. Listen up. If you haven't been listening this whole time, listen right here. This next tip is not even fully acknowledged by all con veterans. This is some inside stuff. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the con suite. What is the con suite? The con suite is this small little room, rumored, that has snacks and goodies and drinks free of charge to Dragon Con attendees. You won't be eating prime rib or drinking wine there, but you can grab a PB&J or some veggie soup or some little thing of nachos, maybe popcorn, a soda, a water. I wouldn't recommend solely surviving off of the con suite, but it's a great place to go if you are a little hungry and you don't have time to stop somewhere. A lot of people gatekeep the location, but I'm going to go ahead and spill the beans. Go to the Hyatt. You'll recognize it by the giant whisk that's in the lobby, and go up the stairs. Just go up one floor and you're basically there. You go up the stairs, you come out and look to your right, you're there. That's all I'm going to say about it. I've said too much. This is a secret that took me years to learn. I can't say any more or else I'll be silenced. Side note, the con suite is a perfect S-tier spot for people watching. You get your snack, look over the edge, and you can see all kinds of cosplays and shenanigans happening below. The next piece of advice involves timing. At Dragon Con, there is a huge parade, and even if you don't intend on going to it, you need to have it on your schedule and be mindful of it. The parade runs through the streets of downtown Atlanta, directly through the middle of Dragon Con, and once the parade starts, you're not going to be getting past it very easily. If you're on one side of the street and you want to go across the street to get to a panel or something, it's not going to be happening. Unless you want to walk like 7 blocks one way to go up and around and go 7 blocks back down, you're probably not getting to your panel. That's why the morning of the parade, wherever you want to be for the middle part of the day, I would go ahead and get there and stay in that area. That way you don't have to navigate around the parade, because it's a big event. On the topic of timing, let's talk about panels and timing those lines. If you've been to other cons, you may have been able to attend a panel before the one you want to see. That way you can ensure yourself getting a seat. Maybe they don't clear the rooms after each panel, but at Dragon Con, they do. Every single panel, no matter how big or small, that room is getting cleared, which I think is a good thing because that ensures people who want to see specific panels have a chance to get in line for that and have a chance to get in a seat. So how early should you be getting in line for these panels? It entirely depends on the type of panel. If this is like a small writing panel or a fan panel, you can come up 20 minutes beforehand and you're going to be just fine. If you want to go see Elijah Wood or William Shatner or a big name, you should probably start planning to get there around 2 hours before it starts. That's what I've done in the past. I like to get there early just so I don't have to sit a quarter mile back in the auditorium and look at like the projection screen of Elijah Wood. Moving on from tips, I have some recommendations of things that I personally enjoy doing at Dragon Con and things that I discovered that I thought, wow, like why did I not know about this 5 years ago? I highly recommend attending Dragon Con Wrestling on Thursday night. Even if you aren't a wrestling fan, it's so much fun. The energy there is great, and it's just cool to see people in goofy costumes throw each other across the stage. It's a really fun way to kick off DragonCon on Thursday night, and ever since I found it a few years ago, it's been on my schedule ever since. My next recommendation is for music lovers. Do yourself a favor and put the Georgia Philharmonic Orchestra on your schedule. This was another event I didn't know existed until a few years ago, and I tried it out and I was blown away. You'll get to hear covers of some of your favorite songs from movies, games, and shows from the Philharmonic Orchestra, and it's way more relaxed than the regular panel. The lights are dimmed, it's just a really chill experience and a great way to wind down in the evening. And that is where I'm going to wrap things up. I know there are so many more topics and tips to cover at DragonCon. It's just a huge event. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Just write them down in the comments and I'll do my best to get to them. I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I hope to see some of you at the con. Some of you, not all of you, except for you.